Hey Hannah, it is August 3rd, and I'm sure you're not going to see this video for another couple of days because your internet's down. I decided to start making a video anyway, just to get started and to hopefully get rid of these YouTube video watching myself on the screen right now jitters. And we're going to see how that goes because I've already recorded this video once and it wasn't working out. So I'm trying this again, trying to be a little bit more, not like this. But first I wanted to talk to our viewers about our name, which isn't exactly, family friendly. So Hannah and I wanted to make a channel in order to stay connected through our respective colleges and whatnot, but we had the issue of not knowing what to call it. So we're sitting there and we're trying to come up with ideas, and Hannah asks me if we had a band, what would we call it? Where I go, fuck if I know, because I really didn't know. And then she proceeds to say, "It's perfect!" And I say, "What?" Because I didn't know what she was talking about, because I had just replied to what she had said, and thus her name was born. Also, I wanted to review a book with you. Will Grayson by John Green and David Levithan. Now, this book is written about two different guys, both of whom are named Will Grayson and Will Grayson. Now, each of the Wills is written by a different author. So the first one, the odd chapters, are written by John Green, and the even chapters, the second Will Grayson, is written by David Levithan. Now, the story is supposed to be about how these two Will Graysons, who are never actually supposed to meet, actually do end up meeting in a Chicago porn shop, which isn't dirty at all. It isn't in the story. You gotta read it in order to understand. So I also put a link down in the thing, in the whatever it's called, to link you to John Green's video about the book. I wanted to talk to you about this book because I know you are also a fellow nerd fighter, mostly because I have lent you most of my John Green books. I haven't read anything by David Levithan before, so I can't really review much about him besides what I know from this book. But I know how much you like John Green, and I know that you're a fellow nerd fighter, so I decided to review this book before you read it, and I know you haven't read it because I haven't borrowed it to you because it's not mine. The first Will Grayson is written by John Green, and he, of course, applies his basic, awkward guy, not really that popular, meets this extraordinarily beautiful and intelligent girl and ends up liking her, and then she doesn't like him back until about the end, and then they both realize that they like each other, but then something happens and they don't end up being together type story, except kind of the opposite. Well, not really opposite. I don't want to give the whole thing away, but it's not exactly the same, but it's close. And not to be a huge critic about it, but I don't think it's up to the same standard as his other books because he wrote it before Looking for Alaska. So I don't know what happened between then and there, but it's just, there's no oomph to it. It's just kind of dull. Like the first Will Grayson learns and throughout the story, and the point that he gets to at the end kind of flatlines, and it's rough. But the other Will Grayson, the one that David writes about, is kind of like an emo kind of kid, but it's really interesting because it's like he does a really good job of portraying a lot of the troubled teens, and he's also gay, which is interesting because I haven't read that many books about gay teenagers before. There's not that many out there, so it's interesting to read about it. And I did look up to see if David was gay, and he is, so it's 100% factual, I guess. That makes sense. But it is interesting, and I like the character development and the growth that the second Will Grayson goes through. And I know it was mostly David Levithan's idea for the book, but I feel like his character got way more out of it than the first Will Grayson did. And just that the whole story seemed to be more about the second Will Grayson than it did the first, which, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just pointing it out, but I don't think it was very good on John Green's part, which I feel bad saying because he's one of my favorite authors, but it really wasn't. I do, however, recommend this book to anyone who has read John Green before. Once again, I can't really say anything about David Levithan because I've never read any of his books before. But I do recommend it for any John Green book reader because it's one of his books. It's still good, and you can still hear him talking and hear his voice throughout the story, which is really, worth it because he's an awesome author. I will see you sometime soon because we have to do that recon mission that we were talking about. Cough, cough, hint, hint. I shall see you soon. Once you kill it, you kill it.